The following is a presentation of the IH Sports Network. You're listening to the Monday Night Roundtable. For the next 2 hours, we'll talk local high school sports with the voice of the Oneida Indians, Tim Smith.
10-5, touchdown, Indians.
Give me the corners. 2 scores, baby.
Give me the corners.
The voice of the Scott Highlanders, Rick Keaton.
Throw the ball, has a receiver long upfield, chasing it down. Pitch made by Rylan Griffith. He'll take it all the way to the end zone.
Produced by the IH Sports Network. The Roundtable begins now.
Good Monday evening, everyone, and welcome to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. I'm Ben Garrett, alongside the voice of the Scott Highlanders, Rick Keaton, the voice of the Oneida Indians, Tim Smith. We are live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. We will be here for the next hour and a half as we talk high school sports. We got a loaded agenda tonight, a lot coming your way, but first, as always, Rick, we start off by recapping what happened on Friday night. Scott High making the trip over to Alcoa to face the Tornadoes, number 1 ranked team in the state, 8-time defending national champion. As everyone would expect, Alcoa, very, very, what did I say? National champion? Well, they might as well be. Yeah, the state champion, national champion, whatever. As anyone would expect, though, Alcoa, a very, very good football team. They scored on special teams. They scored on defense. They scored on offense. Just a very good football team.
Yeah. State champion 16 of the last 22 years in either Class 2A or Class 3A. So a very good football team. You know what you're getting when you go over there. You know it's going to be a team that executes very well. You know that they are very disciplined as a rule. They're always preparing for their next challenge. And obviously they did not overlook us, even though they've got the Maryville game coming up this Friday night. So they took care of business. They got their starters out and they subbed down and they subbed down. And finally we saw the fourth quarterback that they had in the game a little bit. So, I mean, that's just how deep that they are. They probably got, I didn't count them this year, 70 to 80 players on their squad, which is normal for an Alcoa team. Like I said, they do what they do. There's been a huge amount of continuity there. Gary Rankin there all those years. And then he sort of handpicked his successor in his defensive coordinator, Brian Nix. And, I mean, so he's first year as a head coach, won a state championship. So, obviously, he's headed in that direction this year. But they're a good team. We just needed to go over and compete to try to play hard as much as we can. Slow the game down some. That has to be something that you hope that you can do. And how you slow it down is, A, you try to take some time off the clock. You go deeper into the play clock. Don't have any turnovers to give them any short fields. And we were successful except for that last touchdown that Alcoa scored in the third quarter, that being a pick-6 return on our end of the field. You take away that, you take away a punt return for a touchdown, a kickoff return to open the game for a touchdown, and it's not that 49-0 score, but who's to say Alcoa probably would have scored on those punt return instead of the punt return and kickoff returns. They would just had the ball, probably still would have scored. They just had that kind of momentum. And for us, we go in there and try to hold our heads up for the second half. Like I say, that pick-6 return was the only score of the second half for either team. So it's not that bad once they sub down and we decide what we're made out of. And hopefully we get out of there without any significant injuries. But we did lose our quarterback to a broken finger, maybe a compound fracture. I hope to talk to him a little bit later here tonight and find out about his status quo with that. But you think, my first thought was, well, he's done for the season. But we'll find out more about that. And with just 2 games left on the season, they're both road games. I guess we got spoiled playing at home, even though we only had the 1 win on the season at home. But we look forward to these last 2 games, and I want to see the seniors really finish strong on this season.
One thing that I appreciate about Alcoa, and they've always been this way, well, they were this way when Rankin was there, and they're this way now with Brian Nix. They're one of the classiest organizations that you will find. They call off the dogs as quickly as anyone. Let's face it, with the roster that they've got, they could put 80 on you if they really wanted to, and they don't want to. Exactly. And so as they went kind of through their progression down to some of the younger kids later in the game, those younger kids, the last kids coming off the bench, are as good as or better than a couple of teams Scott High is going to face this year. Sky High did very well in the second half. They really held their own. Couple of turnovers on downs forced by the Sky High defense.
Look at this number here, too. Last 4 years, they've played 15 games. They've played 60 games while we've played 40 games. That's 2 whole seasons. You're adding all the playoff games in there, and that gives you a lot of time as they sub down against some of their opponents to start building the experience. I think that's got a lot to do with them being able to just replug and go the next year no matter who they lose.
All right, so Scott High now getting ready to go to Pickett County this Friday night. Very winnable game for the Highlanders. We'll talk more about that one as we go along. And Tim, Oneida off on Friday night, getting a little bit of much-needed rest for the Indians. They've gone deep into this season before they got their bye week. They needed a week to heal up and kind of get ready for this last couple of weeks, and they got that. Can you tell us anything about what Oneida has concentrated on, who they're getting back from injury during this time off as they get set for the final 2 weeks?
No, I can't do that. But I can tell you, we weren't here last week, so I can look back at the Tellico Plains game. I mean, I think we're good health-wise. I was just kidding, just ribbing you there. I think we're good health-wise going into this one. I think that we're going to be pretty much at full strength for the year. A couple of weeks ago at Tellico Plains, that was a game where it was just a senior night for Tellico Plains. This is a team that, talking about calling off the dogs, they had early in the year, they just bombed Eagleton in the opening game, scored over 40 points. And after that, they hadn't scored more combined for the next 7 games. It was like 28 points. It just fell off the map. They've had quarterback injuries, and they've had just a lot of struggles stopping people from scoring. They give up 74 to the York Dragons. So, I mean, this is a team that has been through it, but it was senior night. Their quarterback was back, and, we were in kind of a challenged position, so I can relate to you what I think I remember about seeing it. And then a fog set in, and it was really a guessing game late in that one, as it was for you all. Yes. But the Indians did what they had to do. They did a nice job, especially with some of the passing that they did, and they were finding holes. The line was opening up some holes, and they built up a halftime lead that was pretty significant. Then in the second half, Tellico Plains came out, and they weren't folding. They weren't done. They put their nose to the grindstone and had a couple of good scoring drives, pulled things close, and fought like you would expect a team to do on senior night. And so, it was 27-12 was the final in that one. So the Indians then have the bye, and they've had time to work on things. And the thing to work on is while you have senior night this Friday night against the Kings Academy, that's a very good team. It's an 0-8 team, but if you look up and down that schedule, they've played some very good teams. I think, Ben, you pointed out they only lost to Campbell County by 3. So this is a good team, even though they're 0-8. They play a lot of private schools. I'm sure they look at us. If they don't beat us, they're going to be 0-10 because they play Friendship Christian in the last game. So I think there's going to be a large focus for them on if we're going to get one, it's going to have to be Friday night at Oneida. So it's not a game of consequence for the Indians necessarily, other than you don't want to lose. But
keep your momentum.
Right, exactly, Rick. Exact word. You want to build the momentum because going into the next week, you need some confidence, you need some momentum, because that next week the playoffs really start early for the Indians. And it's a very significant situation because you go to Bledsoe County, so you're on the road. You're playing Bledsoe County on their senior night, and there is a home playoff game on the line. Also on the line, if you finish second, you're not in York's bracket. If you finish third, you're on the road for the playoff, and should you win it, you get to go to Jamestown in week 2, where they're going to take care of people as well as they can, like you said. So, there's a lot on the line 2 weeks from tonight, and you definitely want to have some momentum going into that out of this. But as far as the bye week, I think Coach May had talked about it was a lighter schedule, but I know that this weekend, Saturday morning before they all went to watch UT and Texas A&M, they were in the locker room watching film and getting ready, and they went scouting Friday night. So the coaching staff didn't take any time off as they get ready to prepare for this. So it will be senior night this Friday night against the Kings Academy, and just a chance to try to improve. And, I mean, you could get win number 7, and, the most wins in a season that Oneida's had under Coach Jimmy May since his return as the head coach is 8. So, I mean, you've got something you can do here. If you could get Kings Academy and get Bledsoe County, you really what a season that I didn't expect. Maybe you guys saw that coming, but I don't think a lot of people expected that type of a season from the Indians. So it's an exciting opportunity, and it could be the last home game. You're hoping it's not, but it could be, and so they're probably going to play like it.
All right, Oneida against the Kings Academy. You sat here and talked about it for 10 minutes, and then my mind just went blank. Oneida Kings Academy Friday night, much like the Scott High trip to Pickett County. We're going to talk more about that as the evening goes on. First, though, after we take our first break, we're going to take a look at the Oneida Pride of the Tribe Marching Band as the roundtable continues.
After 50 years together, what do I do now? Then call your name.
Before I had the chance to do it.
First place drum major in Class 1A is awarded to Oneida.
Welcome back to the Roundtable on the I8 Sports Network. We are just getting started tonight from the C. Michael Lake Technology Center in Helenwood. What you've been enjoying are sights and sounds of the Oneida Pride of the Tribe Marching Band. Tim Smith, a couple of weeks ago, Scott High had an open date, and so we were able to use the following edition of the Roundtable to focus on the Marching Highlanders. And tonight we're doing the same thing with Oneida's band. We're joined by Oneida Band Director Jonathan Elliott and by Oneida Drum Major Senior Ryan Day and Bo Chamberlain, also a senior. Tim, what you may not know, I'm just going to say this real quickly. Tim is a resident band expert. He's already told you guys before we came back on that I know nothing about band. So
that's exactly what I said.
Obviously he's gonna handle this segment. Ryan was on one of my ASO soccer teams a few years ago. That is why he decided that when he got to high school, he was going to focus on band instead of soccer. It was all about coaching. So, Jonathan, that you got you a band member out of that.
Thank you. Such a good experience. I'll just do band. All right, gotcha. All right, so thank you, Ben. And so I'm going to start with with Coach Elliott. I'm going to call you Coach Elliott. No, Band Director Elliott. So one of the things that you do in the spring is you kind of do a slow reveal of what the show is going to be about. And so how did you choose, and what is the exact name of the theme of this show this year?
Yeah, so the show is Till Death Do Us Part, and pretty much every year around this time of year I kind of start looking ahead for next year what we're going to do. And December I try to kind of figure out what it is, and I'm actually very lucky since my time at Cumberland Gap. My first director's job was in Scott County, teaching here, and so I got a relationship with Cole Hunt, who's arranged our show all my time at Cumberland Gap, and then this year. So I got with him, and we started, talking about some ideas I had for this year, and our show is pretty much just telling the story of a couple. They get together. We have their marriage at the beginning of the show, and then the second movement's about their trial. They have their hard part. The third movement, that is they're going through life together. They resolve their issues. They're going through life together. The fourth movement, it opens up with the death of one of the husband or wife, and you kind of see that with some of the audio clips we have in the show, and then the very ending of it kind of revisits the wedding theme. That's kind of their reunion in heaven.
Okay. All right. And so, having been to a lot of band competitions and things, both my sons were in band. I was in band. I know that having a unique show is interesting. Back when I was in the band, there was a year, I've told my wife and kids about this, there was a year where everybody played, For Your Eyes Only from the James Bond theme. It was like you went to a band competition on a Saturday and you heard it 15 times from every band. So, but now it's not like that so much more. People are more original with what they're doing.
Yeah, so I think this is, my evolution, I think, as a director. I was very much, when I first began, it was very just basic, shows. And then my fourth year at Cumberland Gap, I just had this crazy ideal that we're going to do a coal mining show. And we had a tweet that Cole Hunt sent me from somebody from Oneida the year we played Oneida, how that was actually a really good show, and they were kind of surprised. And we kind of did that. I was kind of, what's the reaction this going to be? Is this going to be a good reaction? Is it going to be what are you doing reaction? And we had success from there. And then I came here. I wanted to kind of do the same thing, but we had to kind of take baby steps to kind of get to that point, and kind of evolve.
Oh, I completely remember that show, and I think I mentioned to you even that I had remembered that show and how powerful it was and how appropriate it was for the community.
Yeah, we actually had usually I don't tell anybody but my staff what our show's going to be, and actually had a band student who his father at a young age had passed away in a coal mining explosion, and I went to the mother months and months before we even did the first song, and kind of got her blessing for the show. And throughout that entire year, we got a lot of positive feedback from people who grew up in that environment. And kind of from there, it's like, hey, we want to tell stories. We want to entertain crowds, but we want something more than just playing a song. We want to tell a story, and hopefully the audience, their story somehow fits in these shows that we're doing.
All right, I'm going to grab from you. You only have two seniors this year, but they're two
seniors,
good ones.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with Ryan. Ryan, you chose to be the drum major. Now, is this your first year's drum major?
This is my second.
Second year, okay. And I know you have drum major tryouts. Was there a lot of people trying out?
My sophomore year going into junior, I think there was two, and there was two again last year.
Oh, yeah. Somebody came at you, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So now tell me, what do you play?
I play the clarinet.
So now as a band director, usually your drum major, you're losing a very powerful member of your marching ensemble. So why did you choose to do this and not hang in there with the instrument?
Marching got easy. I wanted to make a positive impact.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I did it.
Okay. Are you bossy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Drum major? Yeah. Got to be. So what has to start? What has to be right there with you? Who are you listening for first? If they're not with it, nobody's with it.
I'm kind of constantly scanning the field.
Mm-hmm.
There's the few that I look out for the most, and
Yeah.
there's the few that I have to look at.
So, but you give some encouragement too, right?
Yeah.
So who was somebody when you came into the band that encouraged you, that you looked up to, and that you welcomed you into the band? And while they might have corrected you, but they also made you feel a welcome part.
I think it was Daniel and Alex. I saw Alex doing drum major. I'm like, I can never do this. And 4 years later, I did it. Then Daniel, I remember the day before one of our competitions, he's like, "You're doing this wrong, but here's how we can fix it." And I'm like, that's a great way to like explain it to me and give me a reason to fix it.
Well, that was a setup. Alex Jones, Daniel Smith.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. So now I'm going to turn to Bo. So, Bo, I play an instrument. You said you played the clarinet. What'd you play?
That was percussion.
Percussion. Oh, so you didn't really play an instrument.
No, I just
so okay. No, I'm just kidding. That's what my oldest son, Cal, he was a drummer, so that's where I go with that. You know, I had two people think it was funny anyway. So let's go. So, Bo.
I didn't get it.
Yeah, that's all right. Bo, low brass. How did you choose that? Did you play anything else, or was it always the trombone?
It was trombone at first. Halfway through my 6th grade year, I was going to switch to saxophone because saxophone was just cool to everyone, and I wanted to impress my friends. But I thought it would be too hard, so I stopped.
Okay, so you stuck with the trombone.
Stuck with trombone. Best decision I made.
Yeah. All right. So so then this year you find out you're going to have a solo. Did you expect it because you're a senior, or was it just a surprise that you got that? Because I mean, you go to a lot of these competitions, and there's not a lot of trombone soloists, and it's not an easy. It's like having a French horn soloist. It's not an easy instrument. You expect the trumpet, right?
Yeah.
The glory hogs. But go ahead.
Well,
first he has a really big ego. So all of junior year, he's like, "I'm having a solo. I'm having a solo."
So he called it.
Yeah.
Well,
you did.
No.
Well,
yeah, I did.
You did? All right.
I expected it.
So in the song you're a solo on is You Were Always on My Mind, right? So I have to ask you, who did that better, Elvis or Willie Nelson?
Willie Nelson for sure.
Wow. Right there with it. Okay, so
my mom will love me for that.
Okay, so I'm back to Ryan. Ryan, you're a senior. What are you going to do next year, and are you going to continue with music?
I think I'm going to go to UT, march in the Pride. So.
Then yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it going to be your major? Music?
No.
So what?
I want to do political science.
Political science.
Work for the government.
All right. Not a bad gig. What about you, Bo? What are you doing?
Music. It's either between Tech or the Cumberlands right now. More than likely the Tech. I love Tennessee Tech. And I'm for sure going to do music, like, as a passion. Like, music ed or music performance for sure.
Band director?
Probably.
Yeah? All right. And what do you think about these guys in their future?
No, I mean, they're, coming in 3 years ago, it's kind of, who's this guy coming in? They bought in really fast. I came in with really changing a lot of things that, that Oneida had done before with the band. And, from our shows to having alternate uniforms to, different things. You never know how people are going to respond to those type of changes. But, I'm sure there were some in their text groups like, what's this guy doing? He's going to be here for 2 years max. But, they bought in. And, I mean, they're musically just two of the most talented musicians that I've ever taught. And, I wish I could take credit for their successes. But that's just a lot of hard work that they've put in long before I came along.
A lot still ahead. You got concert competition season and all that, and the band concerts. Those are always fun. I mean, Christmas and then the spring concert. So just last moment, anything you want to say and anybody you want to shout out? Ryan, you go first.
Bo can go.
Okay, Bo can go first.
Well, I don't want to shout out my mom for getting me on this show.
She was persistent.
Yeah,
yes.
She was pretty persistent.
That's right.
I want to shout out my band director, Mr. Elliott, for making all these things happen over the last few years. He's been pretty awesome, and Ryan for always yelling at me 24/7.
That's not true.
All right.
25/8.
Okay. All right.
Jonathan, I love you. You've made band possible for me, so yeah.
All right, guys. Congratulations on a great season. I know the scores were really good. And drum major award, you can't do any better than that. So good luck going into the concert season, and good luck going into the future musical programs that y'all are both going for.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us.
All right, Jonathan Elliott, Ryan Day, Bo Chamberlain, thank you all for being here. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll flip back to Scott High football as the roundtable continues. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood, along with the voice of the Highlanders, Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett, and Rick, last week we did not have an episode of the Roundtable, so today we're doing a little bit of catching up, and so we are joined by our first National Bank player of the game from the Union County game a week ago. Landon Griffith from our Trophy Masters lineman of the game from that game was Eli Kidd. And then earlier in the season, I think maybe the Clinton game, Mason Llewellyn was our Trophy Masters lineman of the game. Could not be here at the time. Knox Central, okay. Couldn't be here at the time because of some JV games and scheduling conflicts, but glad you can make it tonight. Landon, real quickly, and I know Rick's going to ask you about this, but as we get started, give us an update on your hand.
Just got stitches in it for now, but I'll get them took out Friday.
Oh, what's the prognosis from there?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean,
he doesn't know.
Doesn't know. Okay.
Asking that question, he doesn't know, and the question I asked was, is he available to play on Friday night?
Okay.
It's just up to the coaches, really.
Okay. Good deal. Rick?
As you mentioned, Landon was our player of the game. He is, by the way, a two-time player of the game, first National Bank player of the game this season. And since he's a senior, what I really want to ask you, Landon, it's down to the last two games in your high school career. This week, Pickett County, and next week over at Austin East on a Thursday night. Has that entered your mind any at all? Hey, I'm a senior. The season's getting very short for me as a senior and your senior teammates.
Yeah, it definitely has. It's not something fun to think about.
Exactly. Also, I think you've probably been looking forward to the back half of the schedule. The Clinton, now you got me hung up on Clinton. The Union County game was an exciting game that ended in overtime. And since you were our player of the game that night, what are the 2 or 3 memories you have of that Union County game?
I just really remember the fog and just trying to find a hole and hit it.
And you rushed for over 150 yards that game, and coaches utilized you very well through that contest there like that. And it came down to that 2-point conversion. So what was on I know I don't really want to go back to that, but when we go back to that, not converting that 2-point conversion allowed Union County to go home with the win. What was the team mental state at that time after not converting the 2-point try?
I mean, everybody was just really at a loss of words.
Mm-hmm. But you had to gather it up and then go prepare for last Friday's game, the one at Alcoa. That's got to be a tough two-week stretch for the team to know that you're going against the number 1 team in the state. We flip it over and we get Eli. Eli, you were selected as our lineman of the game. I think the guys on our voting panel did a very good job selecting you. I went back and watched a little bit of that film. Who has helped you? You're just a sophomore, so who has helped you learn and grow and be part of the team this year?
Probably Coach Harris. He's really good at teaching the linemen. And then probably Clayton Carroll last year. I talked to him a lot during the season. Mm-hmm. I go to church with him. So.
Okay, Clayton's a good example there as far as that goes. Mason, you're also a sophomore, correct?
Yes, sir.
Who's helped you? Who have you looked up to in the program, whether it be a coach, whether it be an upper-class player?
Coach Kimbrell and Jace Cloyd. They helped me a lot with the D-line and stuff.
Might be a good idea to point out that Jace Cloyd missing the final 3 games this season with a knee. It's not a significant. It's not an ACL or anything like that. It's like a calcium deposit. So if people wonder why we didn't call his name Friday night, that was the reason he had surgery last week. So Jace is a big boy for you to look up to, is he not?
Yeah, he is big.
Want to get your thought. I was of course asking Landon, what did you all think about the trip, the experience, and we'll start with you, Mason, to Alcoa, sort of the environment over there, and knowing, and it's hard to get that out of your mind, knowing that you're going over there to take on the number 1 team in the state.
I guess we were trying to get locked in and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And Eli, how about going to Alcoa and your experience there?
I'd never been there before. It was pretty neat being there. The big jumbotron and the big bleachers and stuff. and it's like a small college down there.
Well, it would also be true, I guess, for Landon. That was your first time playing against Alcoa and at Alcoa also, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you're a 2-year player. Okay. So, I mean, that was pretty much everybody's first visit there. Only 3 seniors, I think. 3 seniors on our team had ever been to Alcoa or had ever played against Alcoa. So we didn't have them on our schedule the last 2 years. I want to jump ahead. I want to talk about the last 2 games on the season. Specifically, I want to start first with Pickett County. Landon, we'll start at your side and then work around to Eli and Mason. What do you know about, what have you seen about Pickett County so far?
I mean, we watched film on them today, and they just run 2 wideouts and 2 tailbacks. They're in the I formation.
They don't do any crazy 4-wide stuff, empty backfield stuff?
No.
Okay. Eli, what did you notice about the line?
They got a bigger line. They got a guy that try to hip toss you and throw you off.
Mm-hmm. And Mason, you're going to be on the other side of the ball. You'll be on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
What have you saw just watching their offense today?
They run like a I formation,
mm-hmm.
and they'll like double team you up to the backer and stuff like that.
Okay. Do they, when you say they run an I formation, is that 2 backs in the backfield and the quarterback?
Yeah, it's like a quarterback, under center, fullback, and then tailback.
Quarterback is under center?
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. That's rare by these days' standards. Other than just a play or 2, we've not seen a quarterback go straight under center this year at all. So, for the entire game, keeping it over here, Mason. We'll jump ahead. I asked Landon. He's a senior. He just got 2 games left. We're going to jump ahead from Pickett County this week to Austin East next week. That is going to be a region game. I don't think the coaches are letting you, showing the team much looking ahead at that, but have you given that any thought what that region game means for the team and our possible chances to play on?
Yeah, like if we beat them, then we can go to the playoffs, and our seniors can have another game stuff.
Well, y'all weren't here a while ago when I talked about the experience of seniors on a team like Alcoa that plays 15 games a year. That's 20 more games than you have in your 4-year career. Eli, looking ahead, have you thought anything about Austin East?
I'm just looking into this game and then we'll come as it goes.
Okay. You said you watched film today, Landon. Can you share any secrets with us? Have Coach Harris and the coaches started putting any of the game plan for this week?
I don't really know. I wasn't in the locker room when I was watching film.
Okay. Okay. How about that then, Eli? Any working on the game plan so far?
Yeah, just putting in a couple new plays and trying to get a win this week.
Right. What do y'all? I'm not skipping you, Landon, but this is the question for the sophomores. Tell us about the seniors. Tell us something about, pick 1 senior or 2 seniors. Same thing for each one of you, Mason, if you don't care to start. Tell us something about the seniors and what they have meant to the football team this season.
That they really like I don't really know how to say it.
You put him on the spot, Rick.
I did, didn't I? I want to come back to you. Eli's had a chance to think about it. What do you think about the seniors? 1 or 2 seniors that you think has really been superlative for the Highlanders this year?
Definitely Landon at quarterback, and I'd probably say Whaley at linebacker. Really good.
Mm-hmm. That would have been my pick, Whaley at linebacker. I think I like that. Now, does that help you any at all?
Yeah. Landon at quarterback and Gage Myers at D-line.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
I'm surprised that neither one of you said Tommy Fitz.
Forgot about him.
Oh, okay. Well, he's.
That's what he gets for showing up late tonight.
That's exactly right. I could have been talking about him for the whole segment, I guess, like that. Landon, let's talk about you and the other seniors in the class. Your relationship with them, and which ones would you have liked to have been able to play all 4 years with?
Definitely the one that's been there for all 4 years are Rylan and Whaley and Hugo.
Mm-hmm. Have they been I know you have, but have our seniors, my perception is they've been a good leadership group this year. Am I wrong? And it's okay if I am wrong. Just tell me that.
No, Welly's really picked it up
Mhm.
and just been a leader to everybody, really.
He started. Well, it wasn't the Clinton game. It was the one. It was probably the game before Union County, and it may have been Union County. He just started trying to be more assertive out on the field when he was carrying the ball, and certainly when he was playing defense. Who's been the defensive leader? Let's just stick with lineman there. Who's been the defensive leader on the line this season?
Like Gage Myers.
Gage Myers. He's been the consistent. I mean, he's been there playing in every game, has he not?
Yeah, he's been doing good.
And same thing, Eli. Who's been the consistent on the offensive line?
Probably Hayden Mason. He's really consistent blocking the big guys in the tackles.
He started every game at left guard, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And you've been the left tackle. There have been some changes on the other side of the line, but you two have been the consistent part on the left side of the line. Landon, who do you want to see have a good game this Friday night against Pickett County?
Definitely Tommy. Offensively, anyway.
Yeah. Does he accept that as the challenge? Okay, he's got you then. Thanks, Landon, for putting him on the spot there like that. So he would also be the guy that you think might possibly be the player of the game next week again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, you've got a lot to live up to. Okay, there we go. Ben, anything for these guys?
No, I just want to say before they get out of here that for our lineman of the game, Trophy Masters has been sponsoring lineman of the game all season. So we got these really cool T-shirts for these guys. Sorry, Landon, as a player of the game, you don't get anything. That does not seem fair to me. However, that is my opportunity to call Shanika Birchfield to the mat. If y'all know Shanika works at First National Bank. She's kind of the boss at First National Bank. She's working on something for you guys for player of the game. So I'm just letting her know right now these guys are expecting it. And if you guys stop by First National Bank, you let her know. You say, hey, where's my player of the game prize? But for Mason and for Eli, we do have these shirts from Trophy Masters. Every lineman of the game all season gets one of these T-shirts. So, guys, congratulations on being selected lineman of the game. Landon, congratulations again on being player of the game. I don't know if there is a player on that field, on that roster, that's put forth the heart and the effort. Not to say that you're alone in that, but definitely you have given it your all this season. And hopefully
leaving your blood out on the field.
Yeah, hopefully you get to bounce back from that hand injury and get to at least one more go at it. So thank you guys for joining us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll switch real quick to Oneida football when the roundtable continues. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. Alongside the voice of the Indians, Tim Smith, the voice of the Highlanders, Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett. We are live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood, and we're joined now by our Oneida superlatives from the game against Tellico Plains a week before last, and that would be our First National Bank player of the game, Aiden Frazier, and our Trophy Masters lineman of the game, Will Jeffers. And Tim, that was a weird game down at Tellico Plains, the fog, and not nearly as weird for these guys as it was for you guys who were over in the corner sitting in the van. But it's been so long I've forgotten anything about the game itself. Other than Oneida got the win, 27-12, and both of you guys had big games, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean it's a region game. You had to have it to set up a showdown here in a couple of weeks with Bledsoe County. For that game to mean as much as it does, you have to beat Tellico Plains. It was their senior night, and they sure played like it. They played hard. They had their quarterback back, and so but you all got off to a fast start. So I'm going to start with Will. We're going to start with the lineman of the game, Will Jeffers. And the reason I'm going to start with you, Will, is because I've been told it's your birthday.
It is.
Yeah. Did the guys do anything good for your birthday? Did they sing?
Yeah, they did.
They
I think
did.
Marty's buying me L-rays after this, too. So.
Oh, cool.
Oh, well, be careful. You know what happens down there on the birthday. So, but I hope you enjoy it. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So you're lineman of the game and happy birthday today.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about this Tellico Plains team. They had some big guys on the other side, didn't they?
Coach May told us, just not look at the record, look at the film. Because they were pretty good, honestly, for their record. And they were big up front. And they had some pretty good players.
Yeah, and it was a nasty night. I mean, we had mostly it's been kind of dry nights, but this one had quite a bit of rain down on the field. What was that like?
It was really muddy and wet.
Yeah, and as a big difference. What's the hardest part about that to deal with?
I mean, it's just hard to move people when it's so wet. You know, you're sliding and stuff.
Yeah. All right, but you were able to do so, and we got some big scores. And Aiden, you were able to get a big score. I can't. Was it play of the game as well that Aiden had?
I think it was.
No, it was Caden's run. My apologies, Caden. Yes, but
Caden's got enough press this year.
He's got a lot
just
of
sit
plays
back
in the
there.
game, but he was a part of both of them, right? So talk to us about Aiden Frazier. You play both sides of the football. In this case, and you were sitting here at last roundtable we had. You were sitting here in attendance as a fan.
I was.
Yeah, and so I think it was predicted maybe that you were going to have a big night.
Pretty sure somebody said it, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about 5 sacks. Now, that didn't happen, but you got 6 points, right? Talk about that play and the call and what all happened.
Well, as soon as Coach says that play, it's just like I have to do very good on that play. And as soon as I came off, some dude was holding on to me, and I kind of looked in Caden's eyes, and he's like, move over more. And he just threw it to me over the middle, and I don't know. I just took off running. Will gave me a block.
For those that don't remember the play, it's a screen pass, right? So I mean, the idea is to have Tellico Plains coming in to kill Caden. So yeah, I can understand why Caden's like get open so that this doesn't end ugly. And so you make the catch. And how far did you go?
I wasn't really paying attention.
50-something yards. Is that about? I mean, I couldn't tell because I was calling that game, but we were at the end of the field, and so it could have been 10 yards for all I could tell. I know you ran a long time, so surely you're faster than that.
Yeah.
But anyway, how many touchdowns you got this year?
I have 2.
2 touchdowns. Are they both on the screen? Yep. So it's a pretty effective. No, you didn't name the play just then. Are you afraid somebody might hear that name and know what's coming?
Coach may be mad at me.
Okay. Well, we don't want Coach May mad because he might not call it again, right? So you said when he calls that, you know you've got to execute it well. Is he pretty particular about that play and about your execution of it? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. It's just as soon as he put it in at practice that one day, I was like, I'm going to really like that.
Yeah.
And he don't call it a lot, so when it does get called, I have to go to the end zone. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Now, so Will, you played you play offense and defense?
Yeah.
Right? And so you were talking about the offense. What about defensively against Tellico Plains? Y'all had them shut down pretty well in the first half. They were able to get some things going in that second half. What were they starting to do well that y'all were having trouble with?
And they were just running the ball a lot with 51. And they probably should have did that from the start, and it probably would have been a quite closer game.
Yeah, and anybody didn't watch the game, 51 was what you'd expect a 51 to look like. And they lined him up in the backfield and sometimes direct snapped it to him. And sometimes handed it to him and just let him hammer it up through there. So he was a load to take down, wasn't he?
He was.
All right. So, but it was a big win on a tough night as far as like playing conditions wise. What'd you do with your week off?
I just kind of hung out. I didn't do nothing crazy.
Yeah. Did y'all practice some or watch a lot of film?
Yeah.
So you watched film on Kings Academy. What can you tell me about the lines?
I mean, you know, they're pretty big up front, and you know you can't go by their record, just like the one team we was just talking about.
Yeah, Telco. Yeah, because I mean they're a private school. They play a lot of really good teams.
They do.
And I said in the opening, they're probably looking at this as their last chance to win because they're getting ready to play Friendship Christian, and they probably don't feel like they have a chance in the world on that one. So you're going to get the best from the Lions on this Friday night, but it's also senior night. And so how many seniors y'all losing, do you know?
Like 7 maybe. Yeah, like
Roughly
7.
6, 7.
Okay. So what's that going to be? Does senior night affect you that way, or is it just you want to make sure you get it for them?
I just want to get it for them.
Got to get it for them.
All right, Aiden, you're both sides of the football, and really, last time you were here, I said we thought you might have 5 sacks. Really, it's been the defensive side of the football where you've caused the most chaos. And I think you even special teams against Telco Plains, you got a block, right? You blocked the punt. Yep. So you had the touchdown, you had the punt block, and you certainly have the capability of 5 sacks a game, or we wouldn't have uttered that. So, what's your favorite phase of the game? What's the one that you really enjoy the most?
I don't know. I don't know if it's right at the start or after halftime coming out and like the first play after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so has it always been that way? Have you always? I mean, has football? Is it your first love? Is it the best? It's not. What is?
Baseball is.
Baseball is. Okay. All right. Well, we'll maybe see you in baseball season. What position you play in baseball?
First.
Yep.
I'll pitch a little
Good
bit.
big target. All right. Got the strong arm. Yep. So what's baseball looking like for this year?
I think it's looking pretty good.
Okay. All right. Will, you play any other sports?
I played soccer my freshman year, but football's really it.
Okay. What's it going to take this Friday night against the Kings Academy? What's it going to take to get a win, Aiden?
Cover their tight end. Just play really good defense.
You think you'll be able to get the quarterback? Is this team really strong on protection?
They look a little slow.
Okay. All right. So you think you can get a step on them?
Their back's a little small.
Okay.
I can get to them.
Will, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think we just got to lock them down and penetrate up front, and we can win.
All right. So if you get that one, then one more, and it's really the big one. You're going down to Bledsoe County. It's an opportunity to get back home and have a home playoff game. So have you even thought about that one yet, Will?
We really just got a mindset on beating the Kings right now.
Okay. All right. What about you, Aiden? Any thoughts that way, or you're just focused on the lines?
Coach May said it. Yeah, we're focusing on the lines right now.
Okay. All right. Now I'm going to give you all a chance to give a shout out. Say, hey, advertise if you got a product, if if there's something you're sponsoring, whatever it is. Will, you go first. If you want to say hey to somebody, you do it.
In Ashton Moreland.
And Ashton's in attendance. Oh, well, and this is the best. We just said this is the best attendance we've had, and so I guess it's you guys. Aiden, what about it? You want to give a shout out on anything?
Probably my woman. And Ashton. I like Ashton too.
You're not going to say anything about the QB? Okay.
He gets talked about enough.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So, does your woman have a name?
Abby.
Abby.
Sorry.
Crabtree, right?
Sorry.
Yep. Okay. Yep. No, that's good. I'm here for you, Aiden. We're good.
Hey,
all right.
Abby made it onto the round table before he did this
She was
year.
on there first. That's right. That's why you're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, one last thing, real quick. Who's your pick? Who's going to be the lineman of the week this week?
Probably Cam Cash.
Cam's a kind of a safe bet, isn't he? I think Mark just thinks he's the greatest thing in the world, and that's usually what happens. So anyway, is he the greatest thing in the world? Cam's a pretty good guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's probably the greatest thing we have in the world.
Okay, there you go. It's confirmed right here. Is Cam here tonight?
He's not too great if he's not
he
here on your birthday. I'm just saying.
Yeah. What about it, Aiden? Who's the player of the game this week?
I think Landon.
Landon? Yep.
I think he has it.
And what's going to bring that home for Landon? Defense or offense?
Both.
Both. All right. There you have it.
All right, so our lineman of the game, Trophy Masters lineman of the game, Will Jeffers, and our First National Bank player of the game, Aiden Frazier. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll flip back to Scott High football again right after this. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network alongside Tim Smith and Rick Keaton. I'm Ben Garrett. We are live from the C. Michael Lake Technology Center in Helenwood. Real quickly, let me tell you that we do not have a legend of the game this week, so we'll be cutting a little bit short, but we do have two segments to go, and in this first segment, we are joined by our superlatives from the game on Friday night, and our Trophy Masters lineman of the game was Dakota Strunk. Our Trophy Masters player of the game for your effort on defense against a very strong Alcoa team, Tommy Fitzgerald, and I think you were the team leading tackler. I remember that. And maybe 6 tackles, 7 tackles, tackle for a loss, pass broken up in the end zone that led to a turnover on down. So quite a game for you on the defensive side of the football, Rick.
Yeah, it was quite a game for Tony. And I've got to say, he's, HL's got a lot of favorites on the team. Tony's a favorite of HL's. I mean, he likes you.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, right? And
yeah.
And they think of H as a coach out there. And so that's just the way it goes. But you've also had a chance throughout the course of the season, probably not as much as you like, to be in the running back and carry the ball some. Do you have a preference, offense or defense?
I played more defense last year, so it's kind of different playing offense this year. And, it just feels good to play both sides of the ball, I guess.
Yeah, you and Alton Whaley have became a pretty good linebacking duo as the season has gone on.
Yeah, well, they finally moved me out to outside linebacker I don't know, probably after the first 3 games.
Right. So, I mean, but y'all are on the field at the same time. Now, there was a time that you were sort of alternating, correct?
Yeah. I still alternate a little bit.
Yeah, but you're there most of the time. That's always good to know. You're a senior, by the way. We need to point that out. One of the 9 seniors on the Highlander squad. Dakota is a junior, right?
Yeah.
And you play mostly on the offensive line. Have I noticed you rotating in on the defensive line a little bit in the last few games?
I played a little bit at Cumberland County. That's it.
Oh, so that's been way back game 1 then. So
yeah.
You've stuck on the offensive side. You heard Eli talk about the continuity of being the same guys on the line every night. Who helps you the most? The other lineman. Who helps you the most during the course of the game?
Caleb Bell, and then Gage Myers at my right tight end. He helps me quite a bit.
And I understand Bell, they think he's pretty smart, right? They say that he grasps things very well.
Yeah.
That's it's good. It's good to have a solid front up there like that and somebody who understands things. The thing that we've had, Dakota, we've had some issues snapping the ball some this season, and that's created a little bit of a turnover back and forth at the center position. Have we got that straightened out for the final 2 games?
Yeah, I think Gus has picked it up a lot. I lost my touch. I can't do it no more.
Well, all his I wasn't going to say this, but all his snaps the other night were pretty good. I've been watching him in practice last week. His snaps were pretty good. Tommy, we're looking ahead, and I asked Landon this question. You're a senior. 2 games left. This week, Pickett County. Next week at Austin East. Both road games. Are you processing that? Or you?
Yeah.
I mean, because the season suddenly is just boom, it's right here.
Yeah, it's taking it in a lot because, I mean, the last 2 games, you're a senior. It's just hard to take all that in, you know. You got 2 games left if we don't make the playoffs. So it's just hard to take in, I guess.
Yeah, it happens to most seniors. Usually it's that next to the last game, and suddenly you realize this may be the last time that we lace them up and go out on the field. Dakota, who would you pick to be our lineman of the game for this week? Who do you think is going to step up? And remember, they can be a defensive player too.
I think Hayden Mason or Gus. Probably Hayden Mason, though.
Well, Hayden he started every game at the left tackle all season long. So he's been a nice fixture. So it would be nice to see him pick it up like that. What do you think about – you're not a senior, but what do you think about these next 2 games? Tell me something about Pickett County. And I know you're not looking ahead very much at Austin East, but just your thoughts on these next 2 games.
They're really important, and it means a lot to the seniors to get them last 2 wins.
Oh, I was just thinking that it's important to have get the 2 wins in a row, have a little momentum going there, and hope that all the other X factors fall in place.
Yeah.
As you're preparing for this game, what are the 2 or 3 things you think this Highlander team needs to do to have success against Pickett County?
We need to play really good defense, and we need to be able to move the ball as far as, like, running it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to rain Friday.
They're giving a 60% chance. That's the Knoxville area the last time I saw. So, yeah, there's a good chance that it'll rain on a field that none of us have seen.
Nope.
I mean, Scott High's never played there. So, I mean, I think maybe way back when Huntsville might have played there when I was in school, but we've never played there. So we know nothing about the facilities. We know nothing about the field other than it's a grass field. If you had your druthers, if you were a coach, what would you want your team, what would be the message you'll give to your team? And maybe as a senior leader, you'll give that message this week.
Just really play your heart out and, give it your all for these last 2 games. And let's try to get 2 wins in a row. 2 wins in a row. That's been a while since we could say 2 wins in a row. Yeah. So that's very important. And this is a question for each one of you, so you can take it, whoever wants to answer it first, I guess probably Dakota, since I through the last question to Tommy. But when the team takes the field Friday night, you're there,
You're under the lights. It's going to be a later game than normal, 8 o'clock Eastern time start for us. How will the coaches, you think, come out on the field that night? How intense are the coaches going to be? Do they expect you guys to bring the intensity yourself, or how intense do you think this group of coaches will be come Friday night?
I feel like they'll want us ready, want to play really hard, leave it all on the field, have no regrets.
I feel like they'll be really intense. They're going to want us to go hard for these last 2 games. And, Billy always bringing up the energy. I feel like he's definitely going to bring it this game.
That was going to be my next question. I think of 2 coaches there, and you guys know the 2 I'm talking about. Who's the most intense? Practice through the week and Friday night?
I don't know. Billy's like more energetic, but Coach Harris, he's like harder on us. He wants us. He's like, he wants us to bring it.
Coach Wright and Coach Harris in practice.
That's the one I was looking for right there. I mean, we know Coach Wright is the girls' basketball coach, but he can get pretty intense on the practice field some days.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's who I was hoping that you'd come with that, but Dakota did a good job. So
Coach Kimbrough doesn't get a shout out since he's here?
Well,
I think he should.
He's I don't say this in a bad way, Jeremy, but he moseys around. He works with his he works with his group very well. I don't know if I've heard him raise his voice the whole season. Maybe he does, but I've not heard it. Have I missed something, guys? Does he?
He can raise his voice a little bit.
He just keeps it in his little group,
Oh, there
he don't show it to everybody.
He's not raising it at you, Rick. That's
well,
good.
That's an extra special because I think of all the coaches when I'm just talking with them, they're real quiet and
moseying around.
Yeah, but I guess when I'm not there, they are really chewing these guys out a lot. But you don't think so?
No.
Hey, I got two questions for you, Dakota. And first of all, Tim asked Aiden a minute ago about baseball, so I want to take the opportunity because you also play baseball and you're a good baseball player. What's your favorite, football or baseball?
Baseball.
Yeah. Tell everybody what position you play.
I play third and I pitch a little bit.
Okay. All right. So now this is the most important question that's going to be asked tonight. Okay. I don't know if you've watched in the past, but we got this kind of debate mostly behind the scenes. But does Tommy Fitzgerald look like Alton Whaley? Would you?
No.
Really?
No.
You won't agree with me on that?
No.
I seriously think you're the only one that thinks that.
I don't think you do.
I think you're the only one that thinks that. I mean,
not even a little.
I mean, they.
Well.
Are you 2-3?
Thanks, Dakota.
Yeah. I thought it was. I like watching you play, and they're going to lose you here in a couple of weeks. Austin East is going to lose you a couple of times. You're going to turn the ball over a couple of times, come up with some big stuff. I'm just telling you right now. I'm being Miss Cleo here.
Here, let's write that down.
Fitzgerald is going to cause 2 turnovers against Austin East, and it's going to be at timely times. You are going to do that. And I'm glad to see your picture because it wasn't on the lineman of the game. It was lineman of the game. And there's no picture. Can we get a good view of him? Because I've wondered all week, what does he look like? So I'm thankful for that.
Look right into the middle camera right there. There you go.
Yeah. But no, I'm serious. 2 turnovers.
I'd like to see it happen.
You're going to see it happen.
Hey, you don't have to stop at 2, okay?
It's going to happen.
Well, I'm going to give it my all.
Are you done?
I'm done.
All right. So Dakota Strunk, Tommy Fitzgerald, thank you guys for joining us, and good luck Friday night at Pickett County. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll pick the winners of this week's game as the roundtable continues. Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, our final segment tonight, and this is where we pick the winners of this week's games. It's also when we get to talk a little bit about cheerleading, and tonight we are joined by a Scott High junior, Hannah Bates, and an Oneida freshman, Monroe Thompson. And so first of all, thank you guys for joining us, and this is your opportunity we talk about football for 2 hours, and cheerleaders get 15 minutes. So this is your time to really build up cheerleading and tell us why the cheerleaders are just as important on Friday night as the football players are. And Hannah, we'll start with you since you're the junior. You didn't want to answer that? Okay, hold on. Monroe, we're going to start with you since you're the freshman. Tell us why football players are no more important on Friday night than the cheerleaders.
Probably because they can't do the same things. We always have like contests on our pep rallies, on toe touches. Some of them can, some of them can't.
So do you want to give a shout out to the football players who can do a toe touch?
Josh Cole, Eli Sexton, they're top.
Josh Cole's got a shorter way to go. I mean, just I'm being fair, right? Aiden, Josh, it's shorter for him to do the toe touch than it is for Aiden.
Okay. So Hannah, how about it?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay. She is not going to take debate on that at all, is she? Okay, let's just say that cheerleaders and football players are each important in their own right. How about that? Is that fair to say? Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, without cheerleaders, without the band, the PA announcer, Tim Hall, Kevin Akers, without those guys, it all comes together to create that Friday night atmosphere. So, Hannah, you were a junior at Scott High School. How many years have you cheered? Is this your third year?
This is my first year.
Really? So what made you decide to get into cheerleading this year?
I've been doing it since I was little. I just now made it, though.
Okay. Good deal. Well, congratulations.
Do you play any other sports or anything?
I used to play softball.
Okay.
So you've worked hard for it. You finally made it. Is it everything that you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, and more.
Yeah. So you've been through 8 games so far in football, and you've got that experience. Obviously, you've got basketball season still to go. What do you think about basketball? Do you think basketball will be more fun than football?
I love basketball more.
Okay. All right. And so, Monroe, what about you? Is this your first year, or did you cheer in middle school?
I cheered all 3 of my middle school years.
Okay. So talk about the transition, you being a freshman, the transition from cheering in middle school on Thursday nights to cheering in high school on Friday nights. Is it a big transition, or is it just the same thing?
No, not really. The band is the biggest thing, is all the band chants.
And the attendance may be a little bit bigger on Friday nights?
That's about it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you've got basketball season going to be starting just a little over a month from now. Are you looking forward to that, or is it hard to top those Friday night lights?
Football's my favorite.
Yeah.
Basketball's all right, but football's always my favorite.
Okay.
Who is somebody on the squad that welcomed you in this year to the high school squad that was a buddy from the start?
From the start?
Yeah. Because I know sometimes with freshmen coming in, you're new, and it's there's not really somebody there. Was there somebody that welcomed you in?
Abby.
Second shout out for Abby Crabtree. That's Aiden's woman. By the way, that's how he refers to her.
Irregardless of her name.
Yeah. So I think that's what he said anyway. So okay.
If he didn't, you're in trouble.
Great. It's always great to have somebody. What about when you came into the squad? Was there somebody that just was welcomed you in, made you feel part of the family?
Abby Hill.
Yeah, Abby Hill. It's always nice to have somebody like that, right?
Yeah. So you guys have got a ton of juniors on the cheerleading squad, am I right? I know you've only got 2 seniors. How many of you guys are juniors?
Most of the squad is juniors.
Because there's only 2 freshmen?
2 or 3, yeah.
2 or 3 freshmen. So everybody else is a junior on the.
So this is your first year cheering with those guys, but among all those juniors, have you guys been friends through high school, or was there kind of a process of getting adapted to one another and getting to know each other?
Most of us were friends through middle school and elementary, but not really.
Okay. All right. So are you guys ready to help us pick the winners of this week's games?
Wait a minute. I want to ask a question.
Go ahead. Sorry, Rick. That's my fault.
And, come back over here and we'll give a chance to like that. A shout out to anybody?
Dad.
There you go.
Tell them who your dad is, in case they don't know.
Caleb Thompson.
Okay. You already told. I asked her this question before we even started. She said, "You want to give a shout out to anybody?" And I said, "How about your mom?" She said, "No." So you don't have to give a shout out to anybody. But is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
My mama.
Okay. And her name.
Michelle Bates.
Okay.
All right. So every week we ask the cheerleaders, when you guys come on after you talked about cheerleading a little bit and told us what you guys do in the role that you play on Friday night, we put you on the spot and ask you to help us pick the winners of Friday night's games. Now, I got to tell you something. These 2 guys sitting to my left and right are not faring very well on the panel. Now, Tim was. He was the leader for a long time, and go back to years past, and he's always done well, but all of a sudden he's in free fall. So, Monroe, he is depending on you because he's gone from the lead to, I don't even know where you're in the middle of the pack, but
I think you tweeted earlier.
He is headed to the cellar. So it's up
tweeter.
to you tonight, Monroe, to help pull him out of the gutter on this thing. And Hannah, same thing with Rick. I mean, Rick has been not really far back all season long, but he's not really challenged either. So
I'm a 70%er.
So
I've been that way all year.
I can change what I sent to you earlier if Monroe convinces me otherwise.
If she can convince you otherwise, absolutely.
All
right. So
pay attention to what I got. I'm listening to you.
So let's start in Class 2A and Tim. Now these guys, they don't pick the winners of our local games, okay? So we're not going to put you on the spot and make you pick unless you just want to. But Oneida hosting the Kings Academy Friday night, the Lions. An 0-8 football team, but their record probably belies the type of team that they are. Tim, what's it going to take for Oneida to get to win on Friday?
Well, they can't take them lightly. This is they've played a lot of teams that are not as good as this team, even though this team is 0-8. This team has played a lot of good football, and this team is going to be hungry. If they don't get Friday night, the Lions, Kings Academy, if they don't get Friday night, they're not going to get a win this year. They're going to be 0-10. And so I think they know that. They feel like they have an opportunity here. So it's going to take continuing to build the momentum. It's going to take building the running game, good defense, 5 sacks from Aiden Frazier. We're going to have 180 yards receiving from Landon Lindbergh, isn't that what they said? So those things combined, you get the win and keep the momentum going into Bledsoe County.
And Monroe, if you had to pick one thing that this week's game hinges on, one thing that Oneida needs to do well to get the win, what would you say?
I don't know.
That's not a fair question for a cheerleader, is it?
Cheerleaders, they watch the stands. They're not supposed to watch football games.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So switching over to your side of the table, Rick, Scott High going to Pickett County this week. An excellent opportunity for the Highlanders to kind of get back on track. I know way back in week 2, which seems like an eternity ago now, Scott High laid it to Eagleton, which is turning out to be probably a better football team than we all thought that they were going to be at the time. Since then, it's not gone the way that Scott High had hoped, but this week against Pickett County at Byrdstown, an opportunity to get back on track. What's Scott High have to do to come home with the win Friday night?
The thing first and foremost is don't compare records and don't, look at this or that. Walk out on the field, take over the game from the very start. Offense, have consistency, hold on to the ball, put touchdowns on the board. Defensively, fly around and tackle, make good tackles. But I say it all the time. That's why we play the games on Friday night. If you just look at and try to compare who this team played, who that team played in the scores, it doesn't always pan out that well. Just go out on the field and just put a whipping on the home team Friday night.
All right, and Hannah, you heard the question that I asked Monroe, so I know you've been sitting here thinking about it. You've had a minute to think about it. What's one thing Scott High has to do on Friday night to beat Pickett County?
Don't give up halfway through the game and always believe that you can win.
That's very good advice. All right. So here we go. Class 2A. There are actually 5 games being played this week because there's only one region game, one of them being Oneida Kings Academy. York Institute is playing at Wartburg. York comes into this game 8-1. Wartburg is 2-6. And I'm going to start with you, Monroe. York against Wartburg. Who do you like to win that football game on Friday? And remember, Tim is depending on you.
York.
Okay.
It's an excellent pick.
So you guys say York.
I've picked against York 3 times and lost all 3.
Yeah, you know who else you've picked against?
It's amazing that isn't it crazy how well they've been playing? I mean, after the Oneida game, and then they take care of Stone Memorial, and I thought surely not Friendship Christian. Then they beat them.
2-point conversion.
I picked York every time, so that's kept me close in the contest.
And he doesn't even like York. Can I say that? Yeah. So, all right. So Hannah, how about it? York and Wartburg. Who do you think is going to win that game?
York.
Rick, do you agree with Hannah?
Yes, I do.
And I would agree with you guys as well. So we're unanimous on that. It's going to be York, probably York by a lot this Friday night down at Wartburg.
By as many as they can, I can promise you.
Polk County, 3-5. Not the kind of season, Tim, that Polk County thought that they were going to have coming in. But, again, that record probably belies who they are. They were a pretty good football team. They're on the road at Sweetwater. Sweetwater is 2-6. Again, maybe a little bit better than what their record indicates. Monroe, what do you think, Sweetwater or Polk County? You saw Polk County play against Oneida, a road game a couple of weeks ago.
I'll go with Polk County.
Okay. Now, this, by the way, this is one of those games that it could go either way. What?
I think it's one of those things where
Listen.
if we were to play them again,
Listen.
we would. it's a tied game always.
I'm changing my pick.
Okay.
I told you Sweetwater, but Monroe says Polk County. I agree with Monroe.
So that's all it took to convince
Change
you.
it.
Okay. So
Polk County.
So Tim's taking Polk County. Rick, what do you think?
Man, I think this week on the IH picks, any school that had a county after their name, I picked them. And so, Tim, I picked Polk County. So good choice to change your mind there.
What do you think, Hannah? Polk County or Sweetwater?
Polk County.
All right, it's unanimous again. It's going to be Polk County over Sweetwater this week. Tellico Plains against McMinn Central. Now, Monroe, you just
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's not one of our pigskin pick'ems.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not, but it is a region opponent for Oneida. You just saw Tellico Plains last time out. Oneida went down and got the win against a tough team down at Tellico. They beat Eagleton in week 1, beat them badly. And then, Tim, the wheels have come off for Tellico since then. They've lost 7 in a row. McMinn Central is a strong football team at 6-2. So what do you think, McMinn Central or Tellico Plains?
McMinn Central.
Yes.
Yeah, so
100%.
No doubt. What do you think on this side of the table, McMinn or Tellico?
Tellico.
You're going to Tellico. Major
Wait just a
upset.
minute. Let's go with McMahon on this side of the table, too, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, so Monroe.
Trying to help you average.
Monroe talked Tim into switching his pick on Polk County, and you've talked Hannah into switching her pick. And so you're saying McMinn Central over Tellico Plains. I would agree with Rick, by the way. It's probably going to be McMinn Central big in that game. And the last game in 2A in Oneida's region this week is going to be Bledsoe County against Gordonsville. And Bledsoe County's got that big game coming up against Oneida next week, but they can't be looking ahead to that because Gordonsville's a strong football team. What would you think in that one, Bledsoe or Gordonsville?
I don't know that one.
Which way she picking,
Well, I
Tim?
didn't think about that one either.
You didn't
It wasn't on the picks.
It wasn't
but-
on the picks. Who's
Yeah.
looking at that game? I mean, yeah.
I mean Bledsoe. Yeah, where is it?
It's at Gordonsville. Yes, Gordonsville.
Bledsoe.
Okay, so you guys, this side of the table, because he just picked for you guys are going with,
What's the
with
Gordonsville
Bledsoe
record?
County.
May I ask?
Gordonsville's record is 5-3.
Oh, I picked Gordonsville.
You agree with Rick?
Yeah.
Gordonsville, I'm going to agree with this side of the table. I think Gordonsville gets Bledsoe County this week. However, Bledsoe's a good football team.
I just went with the home team.
I
yeah,
like them
that's,
to, yeah.
You want them to wear themselves out this week. That's going to be a dandy next week, by the way. All right, so, Rick, we're going to switch now to Scott High's region. The Highlanders are at Pickett County. We've talked about that one. The game of the week in East Tennessee, probably the game of the week in Tennessee, Alcoa is on the road at Maryville. This is the big Blount County rivalry. I can't think of what they call this one. They've got a name for it, but Maryville has struggled a little bit this year. They're 5-3 coming in. Alcoa is undefeated. Hannah, you saw Alcoa Friday night. The Highlanders went over to Alcoa and played. Very good football team. Maryville's got the upper hand in the rivalry over the years, but can Alcoa get them this year?
Sure.
You think so? Rick, what do you think? You agree with her? She didn't sound very confident.
Maryville flexed their muscles last week. That provides a little hesitation, but I can't pick against Alcoa. So.
Okay. What are we thinking on this side of the table, Tim?
I
Alcoa
think
or
I
Maryville?
can pick against Alcoa.
You're going to take Maryville.
Are we, Monroe? Monroe says yes, Maryville.
So you're changing. You're swinging that.
Okay. You know where the game's at?
It is on a football field.
Okay.
And
in Blount County, right?
It is. It's in Alcoa. I understand that.
Okay.
With the air raid siren, we heard that the other night we were watching the game.
The tornado.
The whole
siren.
thing they do. Yeah. It's great, and Maryville's going to come in and just humble them.
Well, Maryville wants revenge.
Not like kill them. I didn't mean humble them that way.
So, Hannah, we're going to put this to the test Friday night because, once again, I'm going to side with you guys on this side of the table. There is no way Maryville is beating Alcoa this year. Not going to happen. It's Alcoa.
Let me tell you this.
That's what Alcoa thinks. That's why it'll happen.
If they do, it's because Alcoa's looking ahead to next week, the Kingston game.
There you go.
Yeah, Alcoa's got nothing to worry about in that game either. All right, Alcoa is just that good.
No.
All right, this is the Alcoa Maryville is the big game in East Tennessee, but this is the one that really matters within Scott High's region because this one has playoff implications, and that is Austin East. They're playing at Union County. Hannah, Austin East comes into this game at 1-7. Union County is 3-5. There is a playoff spot on the line. You've seen Union County already when Scott High played them. Scott High has not played Austin East yet, but they will next week. Who do you like in that football game, Austin East or Union County?
Austin East.
Think Austin East. They've got an explosive offense. Rick, would you agree with Hannah?
I do.
Okay. So
you said you picked the county teams. Don't pay attention to what I had written down. Who do you think? Union County or Austin East?
Austin East.
I did, except for this game.
Okay, I'm going. Whatever Monroe tells me is what I'm going with.
I've got another reason. It takes Austin East winning over Union County. It takes us winning this week. It takes us winning next week to
do
the tiebreaker.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Scott High wants Union County to win this football game.
No.
I think so. Because if Union County beats Austin East and Scott High beats Austin East, then Scott High gets into the playoffs.
Give Union County 2 wins.
That's right. But Scott High would be in and Austin East would be out. If Austin East beats Union County, then it's going to create potentially a 3-way tie, and it's going to come down to overall record.
That's too deep for me, man.
I think Scott High wants Union County to win this game. But I'm going to agree with all of you. I think it's Austin East this week.
We're sticking with Austin East.
I think you should go Union County just to make this side of the table different again.
Yep.
Yeah. So Union County, guys, I got a good feeling that we're going to come out ahead.
We're on Union County, Maynardville.
I don't mean to always side with the red side of the table, but
that's fine.
I think you're taking this one as well. All right. Now this is the one that we're all going to be watching on Saturday. It's the third Saturday in October. Are you guys Tennessee fans?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Tennessee and Alabama. Now you guys are young. You don't remember when Tennessee and Alabama was just the really big rivalry like it was when Tim and I were. Well, Tim grew up way before I did. He's old. Not as old as Rick, but he's old. But Tennessee got the win last year, so this is turning into a big rivalry again. And someone on our picking panel, Tim, sent me a message over the weekend, and they said that no true Tennessee fan would pick against Tennessee when it's Alabama week. You can probably guess who that was.
Not really, but.
Well, it was John L. Strunk, and I'll just go ahead and throw him under the bus. And he said he was really disappointed in you because you have picked against Tennessee 3 times already this season. Do you have anything to say in retaliation to that?
So, yes. One, we've only picked 2 Tennessee games that I picked against.
Florida and Texas A&M.
Right.
And you're 1-1.
And I did get one of them right. So he is also 1-1. So let's see what he does this week. And who do we have, Monroe?
Tennessee.
Go Vols. We got the Vols in Tuscaloosa.
And you did pick Tennessee, by the way. You're not just saying, well, hang on.
Well, we don't know because he doesn't turn his picks in until Saturday.
You picked Tennessee. So do you truly think Tennessee is going to win on Saturday?
Yeah, I do.
You really do?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I think that Alabama is struggling a little bit. I think the Tennessee defense, as strange as it is to say that, is going to give Alabama's offense enough trouble. And Joe Milton came out of his shell after somebody really called him out in the first half last week.
Yeah, soft.
Yeah, he was listening to me.
His shoulder and running over people. So he's enjoying doing that. And Tennessee is going to further the demise of Nick Saban in Alabama. Just like Belichick is history in New England now, Saban is headed for the scrap heap.
So the last 3 picks has been divided, orange versus red. They're taking Tennessee. What are we thinking on this side of the table, Hannah? Tennessee versus Alabama on Saturday.
Tennessee.
All right, so we're not going to be divided on this one, Rick, and that puts it. Do you want to be the odd man out here? Because I know who you picked. Do you want to go on the record right here in front of everybody?
I love Tennessee, and I expect Tennessee to win, but I'm going to pick Alabama.
So we can't be unanimous. Rick had to pick Alabama. Traitor.
So you're
Traitor
Tennessee?
Pick. Guys, I got to be honest with you. Tennessee has shown me nothing on the road the last 2 years to make me think they're going to go down to Tuscaloosa and get a win on Saturday.
Just
so,
when they hit you.
Rick, I'm with you.
And
it's Alabama.
And look, it ain't going to hurt my feelings at all when Tennessee wins.
No, I've been wrong plenty, and I hope I'm wrong again this Friday night. All right, so Hannah, Monroe, you guys parting words tonight as we head out. Thank you for joining us. First of all, big games this Friday night, senior night for you guys in Oneida. And Hannah, you guys are going to be on the road at Byrdstown. Probably your first trip as a student athlete going over to Byrdstown in Pickett County, but it's a great place to visit. Big games on Friday night. Looking forward to it? All right, so we've given you a chance to give a shout out. You want to predict a score for Friday night? Oneida versus Tellico. Oneida versus
the Kings Academy.
The Kings Academy. You got a score?
I don't have a score. I do think we'll win, though.
Okay. So good enough. Hannah, how about it? You got a score for Scott High and Pickett County?
I don't have a score.
But Scott High wins big, right?
Yep.
All right, I'm with you. All right, so Hannah and Monroe, thank you guys for joining us. Thank all of you for joining us as well. And that's going to do it for this edition of the Round Table. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Baby J's Pizza for providing the pizza tonight. Thank you to Greg Bond, Leetta Boyd, and the Scott County School System for their hospitality.
Remember, game time at Pickett County is 8 o'clock Eastern.
Scott High Pickett County will be at 8 o'clock. Baby J's Pizza pregame report will begin from Byrdstown at 7:30. Oneida and the Kings Academy is at 7:30. Baby J's Pizza pregame report from Oneida will be at 6:30. That's it for us. Thank you for joining us. Good night.